All right, this is Dr. Megan,
And this is Joe Smith.
and we're back for another live recording and having our wheel choose. For those of you who stay on top of listening to the episodes as they come out, which I do have to say, I've been doing a pretty good job of getting these posted the day we record it, and I'm really proud of myself for that. So,
I'm very proud of you too. Like that's
we still have 2 from the Vault podcast recordings to post that I still haven't done, but those will get out there soon too. But anyway, so we're going to use the wheel today, and we're going to use the wheel on December 12th, but December 19th, we have a special guest. Callie Plattner is going to be joining us to talk about motivational interviewing. So really excited about that. As you can see, if you're watching this live, our wheel needs a little work. We've got just, I think, 5 topics right now. So if anyone has suggestions for topics to put on our wheel, please drop those in the comments or shoot us an email and let us know what we should be covering on our topic list. You ready for me to spin it?
Let's spin it.
See what we get today.
That's off
Because
this
my computer's
cobwebs.
going slow, you can't even hardly see it spinning, but that's all right. Oh, there it goes. It's moving a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. We might need some WD-40 just to work out its kinks and stuff.
Awesome. So we got content creators.
Yes.
This one, last time we talked about podcasts, so we're not going to talk about podcasts this time,
Mm-mm.
but the topic is content creators that are not behavior analysts that inform your practice. So we could focus on maybe Instagram pages or YouTube or books or any other type of content, but we already covered podcasts previously. So if you missed that episode, check it out. Joe, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first this time.
Okay. Sounds good. So, there's so many. I think I'm going to focus, and this doesn't mean you have to, but for me, just to narrow it down, I'm going to focus today on Instagram accounts because it's just what's on my head for whatever reason. And I do have to be honest, like most of my Instagram right now is not necessarily informing my practice. It's all posts about what's happening in Palestine. So I haven't honestly even seen as many of my favorite like Instagram accounts that would inform my practice as a behavior analyst. But I'll try to see if I can remember them. So one of them, I did see a post today from them, is called Kids Create Edu or something like that. And I'll put, each of the accounts in the show notes. But they, even just today, they had a really cool thing, and it's like they just give different fun ideas about how to, work together with your own kids, or just like fun stuff to do, mostly for parents. And one of the ideas they had today is, it says like at a certain time every night, their Google, whatever, what's the Google version of like Alexa? Is that have a name?
Google?
Yeah.
Google would be what is Google? I use
Yeah.
Siri and Alexa. That's all I
Yeah.
use.
So I think there's a Google one too, but maybe I read it wrong. But either way, just picture Alexa or Siri, and they have it set like a timer. So every night at a certain time, it starts beeping, and their whole family just gets to work on cleaning up the house. They don't even necessarily have designated jobs. It's just everyone looks around and for like 10 or 15 minutes, like works on picking up and organizing the house. And I love that. I think that's like such a great thing, and it keeps a nice routine going, but it's puts the control in the environment. So it's not like a parent trying to nag their kid to do something or whatever. It's just like, as soon as it beeps, everyone just stops what they're doing. The expectation is they spend like whatever 10 minutes or until it goes off again, helping out, taking care of the house, and then they can go back to whatever they were doing. So that's just an example of some of the content that they share. I also really love the Big Life Journal. That's a specific product, but they post a lot of really helpful content, especially around building, certain human experience type skills around like being resilient and persistent and having grit and all of those types of things, especially for if you have clients or children that might engage in more like negative thinking and have some anxiety and stuff like that. They have a lot of really great resources that they post for that one. And then I love the There's a parenting account, connected parenting. Again, I don't exactly have them all memorized right now because I'm barely seeing them anymore, but that's another one of my favorites. It just a lot of really great ideas for how to use like gentle connected parenting, common things that parents would encounter and how we typically address those things, but they give you ideas on how to do it differently in a way that's more supportive and like growth focused for your child. And then Mr. Chazz is definitely one of my favorites as well. He used to be a teacher, and I don't know that he still teaches, but he covers a lot of topics that would come up in education or parenting, and discusses, you know, again, better ways, more supportive ways to address typical issues that people might encounter. I am sure there's like a ton more, but those are the main ones that are just immediately coming to mind. So I'll stop there.
Awesome, and I love that list. So my Instagram feed, like, I'm following like a ridiculous amount of like different people, not including my like direct family or like friends, but like I'm following like a bunch of different like fitness, of course, um, parenting accounts as well. So I'm going to narrow down to like some of my top like three that helps me, and the ones I like to follow a lot more. So the first one is, and I forgive me if I butcher the name, but it's Kaylin Hartrow. Her account, which is at KAELYNNVP. And she's an autistic advocate. She herself is autistic, and she gives a lot of great advice. And also, she does a lot of great reels on what it's like to be autistic. And so that way, neurotypical individuals are able to like just get a glimpse of what it feels like, or how to best help other individuals who are autistic. And I love following her. She actually had her own. She was at ABAI this past year in Denver, and actually hosted a talk as well while there, which I didn't get to see or get to see and witness, but I would love to just be present and just to listen from her and learn from her. So the other Instagram accounts that I really like just following is Ryan Holiday. If no one has heard about Ryan Holiday, he is an author, and what his books are about is about stoicism, which I find fascinating to learn about. And what stoicism really focuses on is this Greek philosophy as taught that virtues is based on focusing on the things that we can control. Our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, while accepting things that we cannot actually control. And there's four main virtues in Stoicism: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. And right now, the book I have that I'm reading is called Discipline is, oh, I forget. It focuses on discipline. He has another book that I have that I want to read next. That's called Courage is Calling, I believe. But anyway, I love his stuff. I love the information he presents. He also has a YouTube page, and also he has a podcast. He has two actually. One is I love because it's a 5-minute podcast on daily lessons for being a parent, and I love it.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, it's 5-minute lessons that and it focuses on being a dad too. Like really just focuses on like virtues from stoicism, and lessons that we can apply as a parent that focuses on these virtues, which I love. So it's really great information just to gather and to ingest and help you being a better parent. The other one I follow is called the Tired Dad. I love it because what he does, he does a lot more shorts and reels where he talks about different ways of being a dad. Yes, you're tired. Yet, like one of them is like, and this one hits me hard, but it's whenever his daughter came and asked him, like, Dad, can you pick me up to go to bed? And of course, Dad's like, no, no, you can go up yourself, or like, no, I'm still working. Well, then flash forward, like 4 years later, he's like, oh, it's time to go to bed. She's like, okay, and just goes up, and then it hits him. He said no so many times that now he missed that chance that opportunity to have those moments with his kid. Oh. So that's where I'm at now, is like I'm really focusing on like when my kids ask me to do something, or like if I can play with them or play a video game or sit down and play a card game, like I'm saying yes, and so it can be present instead of saying no, I got work. I'm pushing work off to the side as much as I can when I'm at home at night, just so then I have those moments to spend with them. Or like, hey, if they need something, like, hey, Dad, can you tuck me in? Can you read me a story? Like, I make sure I do that. Even though I'm tired and exhausted and want to go to bed, I'm focusing on trying to be present, which is also something I'm taking practice as a behavior analyst, as like being more present during session. Like, and then if I have a client that's saying, hey, do you want to play with me? Instead of turning them down, saying no, like I'm saying, yeah, let's play, let's engage, let's have fun, like let's do this, because you're never going to get that time back.
Yeah.
And it's even more precious for me because I lost, like my boys, I lost the first 5-6 years of their lives.
Yep.
And then my baby girl, I lost the first 4 months of her life. So like every moment now is more precious because I already came into this without having that time. I already lost time with them. So like I'm being more intentional with my words and my actions and being present. So those are my top 3.
Well, I tried to find Tired Dad, but I couldn't find him. And I'm even looking at people you follow and I don't see him. So
it's at the Tired Dad. So the Tired and Dad.
Okay.
That should help. If not, let me know. I'll let you know.
All right. Because I've been trying to add them to the Facebook feed. So we have a few people watching. If anyone has their own content creators, we're focusing on Instagram right now, that you are following, feel free to tell us and we'll try to check those out as well. But I missed, Joe, for some reason. I missed the middle one. Like I heard what you said, stoic and all that kind of stuff. Stoic. I can say words. What was his handle?
His handle should be at Ryan Holiday. Should be.
Why does that remind me of Ready Player One? Isn't like the person they're looking for? It's Holiday though, right? It's not Holiday.
No, it's Holiday. Probably Holiday and Ready Player One. But the author is Ryan Holiday.
Okay. All right. I got this guy. And then tell me the Tired Dad one more time. It should be what?
It should be the Tired
The Tired Dad. Okay, got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is when I just typed in Tired Dad, there were several accounts that came up, but they all only had like 30 followers. And I'm like, well, it's not, I don't think it's any.
Yeah. No, the Tired Dad has a blue check. So that's that's authentic.
Yeah. Awesome. I do have a few others that that are like less parenting focused and more like relationship. So I'm not going to talk about those today, but if we're going to keep this one on the wheel since we need topics, and if it comes up again, I might talk about those. But I just think there's a lot of information that's potentially existed in, sociological and psychological literature on relationships, that the more we can familiarize ourselves with those, I think it does affect our practice for numerous reasons with parents, but also just the better we understand ourselves, the less burnout we're likely to get and all that kind of stuff. So I'll save those for next time though, since we already talked about so many today. We'll close out in a non-wheel topic because I just need to vent for a minute, Joe.
Okay.
I know there's worse things happening in the world, and this is very much like ridiculous on my part, but what in the world was the college football selection committee thinking not putting FSU into the playoffs? How does an undefeated team make it in when teams with losses made it? Like, they don't make it in, and teams with losses did. And I just saw someone post about it today. In 2021, Cincinnati got to play. They were number 4 and they didn't play anyone. They're from like a really crap league. So is that just how bad the AAC is right now? Like, I'm so like, I was already like, okay, Ohio State's not going to make it because, we lost to Michigan. But that was my next hope. Okay, Florida State, if they can win with their third string quarterback against Alabama, not Alabama, against Louisville, they should make it to the playoffs, right? Like,
yeah.
I went to bed that night thinking like, surely they went in ranked in the rankings to be in the playoffs. They didn't lose. Georgia lost. Like, what the world? I don't understand.
I guess you didn't make it.
I've been saying for years we need an at least 8-team playoff. Like, the 4-team thing is just ridiculous. And this just really highlights it even more. So
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, especially being undefeated, like that shows like that's tough to do. Like, so I didn't get to see everyone who's in the playoff. I did know that
so it's Michigan, yeah. Alabama, Washington, and Texas.
Who's in the top 4 playoffs?
Yeah, those are the 4 teams in the playoffs. Texas wasn't even close. Like, they weren't even, but because Alabama beat Georgia and Texas beat Alabama early in the season, that's who Alabama's 1 loss is to. So because of the one freaking game where Alabama was able to beat Georgia, that all this other stuff happened where Alabama and Texas both ended up in the playoffs then. It's like, you can't, to me, like, that's looking at just one small part of the season, that Alabama happened to lose to Texas. So now all of a sudden Texas has rights to the playoffs. It all is just like ridiculous to me. Like, it's not Florida State's fault that they didn't get to play any of those teams. And that's the whole point of the playoffs. Put them in, let them play Alabama, let them play Michigan or whatever, and see what happens. The fact that they had to go to a 3rd string quarterback and still managed to stay undefeated.
That's amazing.
And they won their conference. Like, come on, that's so bad. I'm so mad at them. But something to distract me for, a few weeks, I guess, from the actual very devastating things that are happening in this world. But
exactly. But
anyway.
I don't know.
Is Penn State in a bowl game?
Yeah, Penn State is in a bowl game. Also, another one of my alma mater, I always butcher that name. But anyways, Liberty University is in a bowl game too, which is awesome. They were undefeated as well. So they actually made it to a bowl game.
Wow, that's awesome.
I know. So I'm happy. At least they made it to a bowl game. And then I'm not sure. Yeah. no, and also awesome Old Dominion is in a bowl game too.
Wow.
I know they barely made it though, barely.
Well, you're gonna have a lot of teams to watch in the bowl game then.
Yeah. I'll be watching that on top of all of European football games I'll watch too.
Oh wow, I
So
didn't even, wow.
I've been following football for a little bit too recently since my son started playing soccer and I got back into it. So
Nice. Awesome.
yeah. How
All
about
right.
this?
Huh?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Just we can talk about this later. Maybe this would be a great topic. Maybe we should introduce relegation to college football. Or
What?
yeah, so in Europe, there's the football teams. Okay, so you're in the English Premier League. If you don't make it to the top 17 teams, the bottom three gets relegated to like the minor leagues.
Oh.
Imagine that for college football. If you don't make it to, if you're not in the top like so many teams in your, or maybe you're at the bottom of your bracket, maybe you go into a lesser league.
What would the lesser league be for college? They maybe for the NFL they could do that, but I don't know. I think it'd be hard for college to do like
college, yeah.
Or if they could like redo the conferences all together, and instead of having like Big Ten, Pac, SEC, all that kind of stuff, it could be more like the elite league.
Yeah.
And you have, like your leagues that go down and based on your performance in each season, your conference changes depending. But they would never do that because like financially it would be a mess probably for the universities. They like benefit so much from the way the conferences are designed. But
well, that's the big thing in Europe in Premier League is that if you're in the Premier League at the very top, you get so much more funding and so much more like advertisement money. But if you get relegated, you get less money.
yeah.
So then it's harder for you. It's harder. And this is why like there's so many coaches changes. There's so many, it's so cool though. I
They
love
could but that would take care of one of the issues, which is like the strength of schedule that they always talk about with college football, where it's like supposedly, like the SEC is stronger than the AAC or whatever, and it's or ACC. Sorry, I keep saying it's not an augmentative community. Or which one is it? Is it AAC? What's this?
I don't know.
Whatever, you all know what I'm talking about if you pay attention to sports, college sports. Wow.
ACC, I think.
AAC, I think that's what it is. Anyway, so if there was no conferences like that and it was truly just based off of like, I mean, I don't know how they decide the initial who's in the Premier League or whatever, but once you're there, all the teams potentially should have similar strength. And then, like you said, the weaker teams get weeded out. So they're always playing against like the top teams, and then the weaker teams can play against each other. And then we don't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
Yeah. And then if you're in that bottom tier, that league down, you can get promoted back to the Premier League if you're the top like three teams.
Right. Yeah. That would account for a lot of things. All right, Joe, go meet with the college football committees and have that discussion with them.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you for our listeners. If you're not college sports fans or football fans, for listening to our ramblings for the last few minutes here. We'll see you all again next Tuesday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and we'll, spin the wheel. So give us some topics to put to our wheel so you don't have to listen to us talk about football. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Go forth and do better.